And I introduced you as the baby rhino. I think that phrase has been coined from Ali Eakin, who described you as a baby rhino with a dart up his backside, the way you rampage about the pitch. But the level of aggression that we see from you on the pitch is quite something to behold. I mean, where does that come from?
I mean, I've always been quite angry as a child. That's what my mum told me, which works for and against me, obviously. Growing up, I got in quite a bit of trouble due to it. Not going into too much detail, but got in quite a bit of trouble, got arrested a few times growing up, and that's not something I'd encourage kids to do, but don't ever sort of hide the fact that you've got that aggressive factor, and you can use it in the pitch in a positive direction. And I mean, yeah, I'm quite angry on the pitch, but I'd say off the pitch I'm quite chilled out, and my teammates probably agree. I'm a bit of a joker around the club, well, I like to think so. Coley don't find me very funny at all. Especially when I use his towel, give it the chainsaw and stuff. But, he didn't know that until now.
Nice.
But no, like I said, I get that nickname. I thought it was a lot more elegant. I was looking more for the peacock as opposed to the baby rhino. But yeah, it's a nickname that seems to stick. I don't mind it. It's a bit of banter in it.
You were saying that, you know, it's good to be, you know, a little bit narky, a little bit angry on the pitch. And I guess rugby was probably a way for you to channel that anger and that aggression, because we've spoken a little bit about it before when you came on the show, that you really struggled in school. You had dyspraxia and it wasn't diagnosed till a lot later. So tell us a little bit about that and how, like, channeling that anger helped you.
Yeah, in school I struggled quite a lot. I didn't find out until I was dyspraxic until I was 14. They thought I just really didn't want to do any writing, and to be honest, I didn't. I'm not going to lie to them, but my teacher used to get frustrated because I was writing like 2 words per lesson and stuff.
Explain what dyspraxia is for people.
Dyspraxia, basically, it's quite hard to explain. It's supposed to be hand-eye coordination, which sort of defeats the object of playing rugby, like catching the ball.
Of course.
When I knock it on, you can say, I give that excuse, I'm dyspraxic, I'm dyspraxic, they don't count. But dyspraxia basically is hand-eye coordination, and like I walk into a lot of doorways, my judgment of space isn't great. Like when I park, I struggle to park quite a lot. Tripping over your own feet, so I scuff my trainers all the time.
Oh my gosh, you wouldn't survive if you scuffed.
I don't enjoy it myself, but yeah, it's weird because a lot of kids probably have got dyspraxia, but it gets overlooked because dyslexia is so well known that they don't realise that they're dyspraxic until a late age. I spoke to someone the other day who was about 38, and he was like, I found out I was dyspraxic when I was 34, and I was like, wow, imagine finding out that late. But yeah, dyspraxia basically means that you're not very good at like, catching things, and your hand-eye coordination is terrible, so I use it as an excuse for everything, really.
Well, you managed it pretty well. You managed to come all the way through Bristol, and you spoke about your aggressive past and getting in trouble and being locked up and all that kind of things, but you managed to get away from that darkness and find yourself playing for England under-17. That must have been a really nerve-wracking week for you. I mean, what was that build-up like?
So I missed out on all the age group stuff. There's a few players in the Premiership now, actually, that I was at some of the camps with who never used to speak to me, but I'm good mates with them now, and I forgive them for neglecting me through those camps. I won't drop names, but they know they are. And then building up in that week when with my under-17s, I remember my mum rang me, and I just got announced in the squad, and I thought, how does she know already? Because social media, I know, is coming big now, but like 6 years ago, wow. 6 years ago, it wasn't that big, and I remember my mum ringing me up, and I was like, wow, like she knows already, blah, 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 and she was like, have you watched Sky News? And I was like, no way, it's on Sky News, like I was buzzing, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, yeah, like your uncle just escaped from prison, and I was like, oh, great, sort of thing, like, so I put a downer on my
so
week.
You were in camp whilst this happened?
Yeah, I wasn't in camp, I was actually at college, and I was sat on my bed with one of my friends. And my mum told me about all that, and I thought to myself, like, we've actually got different names, so it didn't bother me too much. No one sort of come up to me and peppered me or anything like that. But that was like daunting when I went into camp, and I thought to myself, I'm surrounded by a lot of these boys who wouldn't ever think, like, imagine any of their family being put in prison. I had that sort of in the back of my mind when I was about to make my, not debut for the senior side, but for the age group, nonetheless. It was sort of in the back of my head, and it made me even angrier, and I actually got sent off that game, so I'm going to blame it on that as well.
But you've done, you know, you've given back then, haven't you, like, you've been to Bristol, you've mentored a lot of youngsters that were in the same position as you. I kind of want to go back to your time in Bristol, if we can, because there were certain reasons, or in your head there were certain reasons why you needed to leave, not the club maybe, but that area and go somewhere new, go to Leicester. What were those reasons?
Yeah, so I got in quite a bit of trouble as a youngster. So when I was 13, 14, 15, I got arrested a few times then, but sort of when you get to 15, 16, you got to get your head screwed on, and you're not so much a kid anymore. Obviously, you're still classed as a kid, but I went away to college, and then I came back one week when I was 17, like not having made my England 17s debut, and I got arrested again, and my mum was like, listen, like, you got to pack this in, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right, and then I signed for Bristol, and I got arrested again, and then they sort of swept that under the carpet, and then it happened again in December, and my agent had the conversation with Richard Cockerell, and he was like, look, Ellis should probably get out of Bristol because he keeps on playing up, and I've only got myself to blame. You know, I had great people around me. My mum was supporting me, my dad helped me a lot. I got in a lot of trouble with them, but you're 18 years old, like you can't be doing that sort of stuff anymore, and I was quite lucky that Bristol supported me, and Leicester took me in as well, and Bristol were great to me in that regard of letting me go, and I'd say I've matured a lot over the past like sort of 5 years. I left when I was 20, so a week before my birthday, and I was up there on my own. I didn't really have anyone about, and boys took me out to have some food and a cake. It wasn't too bad.